So how do you get started building a guitar?
How do you start?
How do you start?
Well, I brought some paraphernalia with me tonight. These are bits and chunks and pieces of things just laying around the shop, just to show you how I kind of go about doing things. I guess the wood is the number one thing that you have to worry about. The wood is one of the hardest parts of building a guitar. You have to find the right wood, and the right wood is very, very, very hard to find. This is a piece of cocobolo. It comes from the rainforest in Central America. Those people that are always marching around campus about the rainforest, this would be what it was about.
And Jerry actually mugged one of them. That's where he got the wood.
Here we have a volunteer. Need a volunteer from the crowd. Come up. Come up. Describe this.
It's heavy.
Very, very heavy.
Moderately smooth.
The heavy part was the part I was looking for. This is, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll pass this around the room. This piece of wood probably has the density of some steel. It takes about an hour and a half to cut this piece of wood with a bandsaw that I have that dims the lights in the neighborhood when you turn it on. And you have to feed this thing through a bandsaw very, 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 very slowly. As a matter of fact, it starts smoking as you push it through there. This just got kind of give you a sense of, pass that around, let everybody kind of feel of it. The idea is that you want to cut it down until you have it into slices that are like this thick. And so this is a piece of Brazilian Dalbergia Negra, which has cost about as much money as gold per ounce. This is worth about as much as gold per ounce. This piece of wood is legal because it was cut down prior to 1982 when it was made illegal to have it in the United States. If you have this piece of wood and you go through customs, in most European countries, they will confiscate it from you in the same way they confiscate ivory. This is a 9-inch wide piece of Dalbergia Negra, and that's in order for this to have come off of a tree, the tree would have had to have been. You have the core wood and the heart wood, the core of the tree, and then you have the bark that's on the tree. This white stuff is where the bark's. There's a piece of wood that's about that far out, and then you have the bark that's on the tree. And so I counted the rings on this particular piece of wood here. This tree was 135 years old when it caught on fire in Brazil. The reason that I have it is because the tree caught on fire. It burned the outside of the tree, and it melted the pulp in the middle of the tree, killed the tree. But the heartwood of the guitar survived. This stuff here is just fine. And so this tree would have had to have been that big around to get this piece of wood out of there. And so this piece of wood is very, 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 very valuable to me. If somebody steals that other piece of wood, I won't care. This piece of wood, I would care. So you slice it into two pieces. And I brought the wrong two pieces, of course. But basically what you want to do is book match them, and I brought the wrong two ones. These are not exactly book matched. But you want to book match them and put them together, and then when you book match them, basically that's how you make the back. You glue this together and it makes the back. And so the two of them together make the back. Here's another.
Now, is there a difference in the woods you would use for the back and, say, the sides and top?
Yeah, the wood on the back of the guitar determines how the guitar is going to sound in terms of what reflects. The top of the guitar produces the tone that you're going to hear, and it produces 100% of the tone. Virtually 100% of the tone is coming from the top vibrating. We'll talk about that in a second. The sound comes off of the top of the guitar and hits the bottom of the guitar. And whatever wood is on the bottom absorbs some frequencies and then reflects other frequencies. Rosewood is normally the one that most people prefer because it absorbs a little bit of treble but reflects all the bass. So a rosewood guitar is almost always a very deep, mellow, rich sounding guitar. Mahogany tends to absorb bass and reflect treble. Maple tends to absorb treble and bass and produce a real mid-rangey kind of sound. Jazz players love maple back guitars because maple back guitars tend to have sort of a mid-rangey sort of sound to them. So yeah, it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference in how the guitar sounds. And so, like, you can buy. I didn't bring it. You can buy rosewood that's grown in India in around plantations. They have these tea plantations, and around the edge of these tea plantations, they plant rosewood trees to provide shade that goes over the tea plants to keep them from burning up with the heat. The problem with that wood is that it gets a lot of nutrients, it gets a lot of water, it's kind of taken care of. This stuff that grows out in the forest, out in the jungle, you know, has to be so hard that an insect can't eat it. You see, that's why it survives. If it were soft in any way, form, or fashion, the insects would eat it and it would die. And so so this wood is very, 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 very hard. So native growth rosewood is the preferred wood that you want to have. This is a better example of book matching. You can see how these two pieces of wood came right off the tree right next to each other. You see how the grain matches? And so when I cut these two pieces of wood were like this, and then I ran a saw down through the middle of them, you know, so that they yielded that. And so this will become the sides of the guitar. That's what this is made for. All right? So this will become the sides, and that over there will become the back. The sides of the guitar don't make any difference as far as I know, or very little difference in how the guitar sounds. You just want this to be the same, to look the same as the wood that goes on the back of the guitar. You want those to match so that it's just aesthetically pleasing. This affects the sound. This doesn't. You just want this to be aesthetically pleasing. So this is, I could sell these 4 pieces of wood for probably, I don't know, $4,000.
And now you know why the really fancy guitars are expensive.
Yeah. A lot of people find it interesting how you take, this is Indian rosewood here, how you take those two sides and bend them so that they look like a guitar side. Now these are 2 book matched pieces of rosewood here. Now to show you, I thought I'd just demonstrate to you a little bit about how this sort of works. This is a piece of scrap rosewood, and this is an iron. This is 350 degrees. And so what you do, if I could get where I can put some pressure on it, it's normally nailed down on a...
You want me to
No,
hold
it's
it
okay. I'll
for
just
you?
sit here for a second. We'll just be patient. So what you do is you put the piece of wood on there, and you try everything you can to be patient. Patience is not my virtue. And you just get it hot. And over time, to bend a pair of sides takes, probably about 15 minutes, something like that, to bend it.
Now, do you overbend them sometimes?
You have to overbend them because the nature wants it to come out, go right back to where it was. And so it will try as best it can to go right back where it was. So you see how it's already bent? Okay. And so what you do is you bend the sides, where they look like this. Now I have a form at home that has this bend in it. So I bend the wood and then put it in the form so it stays there. Now I've already bent 75 or 80 sets of sides. I have 80 sets of sides already set back. And the reason is to bend it, you kind of have to get it wet. And wet is moisture is the enemy of a good guitar. You don't want to ever build one. You want to build it when the wood's got any moisture in it whatsoever. And so I already have these things drying so that 15, 20 years from now they'll be ready to go.
So how do you manage building good guitars in New Orleans?
It's not ideal, but you just do the best you can. It's just all I can do, unless I want to go move to the desert. But the good news about building a guitar in New Orleans, if you build a guitar when it's humid, and then you send it somewhere where it's dry, when you send it to somewhere where it's humid, that's okay. If you send it to somewhere it's dry, you kind of have to allow for that when you're building it. What you do next is you take the what's called this is the neck the neck plate, and what this is I copied Martin on this one. You make these things, and you glue this to the front of the guitar, and this is where the neck is going to set in the guitar. The sides go around here, and then the bottom then the bottom of the guitar goes to this. So you glue the sides up, and then I wind up making things like this. This is just a jig that I made to hold one in place while I'm working on it. Let's see if I can get this all loose. Let me take this out of here. It has to be under a lot of pressure to hold it. So this is they call this the rib of the body. So you glue the neck plate in here, and this is the rear plate, the heel plate. And the heel plate, I try to choose wood that's got a little bit of tone to it when I build them. This is, and I get most of that off the street. This was somebody's countertop that they threw out on Pine Street. And so I was kind of tapping on it. Had a nice sound to it. So I chopped this up, to make the heel plate.
So if you see someone going through your garbage, tapping the wood,
Oh, my neighbors think I'm so weird. Here in New Orleans, people take 100-year-old pieces of cypress that was a baseboard or a crown molding, and they throw it in the trash. That's a 100-year-old piece of cypress. I mean, it's done what it's going to do. And for bracing wood, oh man, hard to beat. And so I just walk down the street. I go through I see something in a trash can, I'll tap on it because there's a difference between what I call thunk wood and ding ding wood. Ding wood has a sound to it. Thunk wood just goes, there's nothing to it. But ding wood kind of has a little tone to it, and you want to put as much wood in here that's got tone in it as you can.
now you've got some kerfing around the edges there too.
Yeah, this stuff, you just buy this stuff. This is what it looks like. And it's flexible, it bends, and you just put it around the side of the guitar and glue it. You glue this on with clothespins. You take clothespins, put a little glue on there, and glue it on there. And that provides the surface that you're going to glue the top to and the back to. Okay, so that gives you that's the surface that holds the guitar together. Actually, this little bit piece of what they call purfling. Yeah, but anyway, so things like this you have to build. You can't buy something like this. And so I use this jig, to hold the body in place, while it's drying. And I use the jig to glue the top and the back of it together. So this allows me to glue it easily.